Where we are situationally, everyone have their drinks, their hydration, their pre-game rituals already in place. I am good to start as well.
Fresh pack of smokes, couple beers, I'm good.
All right, sounds like a plan. Well, that being the case, so without any further ado, and with all due enjoyment of what we've experienced thus far, and hopefully as much enjoyment for all of the roads that lay ahead of us, I want to thank you all for coming to share this time with me and with us as we explore the world that these characters inhabit, as we explore their loss, their gains, their wins, their losses, and all of the many minor victories in between. And it really does mean a lot to me when I do get a chance to play, and each instance is special to me. So I want to say from the bottom of my heart to the top of my head, thank you so much for this time. And with my thank you, I'd like to say that this is officially the start of In the Shadow of the White City, Season 4, Episode 3, Order Was the Dream of Man. Now, normally, for Soup City Sins and several other one-shots, I've gone into the details as to what the city, what the village means. Kind of a overview of some of the things that are foremost on the locals' minds. And that's almost impossible for Chicago, not so much for Dalton or Thornton Township more specifically. It is, for all intents and purposes, for those not of the area, those who have not had the opportunity to really live in Chicago, it's just Chicago South. However, there is an intrinsic difference between Chicago and all of its suburbs, and especially the south suburbs, especially Thornton Township, especially Dalton. Dalton is bound by its motto, a village working together, a community working together. Now, the thing that most people miss in that pithy motto is the fact it never says a village succeeding together. It never says a community succeeding together. The work is and has been the focus. Just by simply doing is enough. Doing together, the penultimate goal. Whether success is the real factor or not, never actually comes up. And that's no more better displayed than in the fact that per capita, Dalton has more proprietorships, sole owners, limited liability corps, and various other multitudes of businesses. Everyone believes that their millions or billions is simply another hard day's labor away. That by working 2, 3, sometimes more jobs, that their future security has been carved into stone. There's the idea that tomorrow the rainbows and flowers unseen today will miraculously appear if you work hard enough. While Gary had always been the steel heart of the Midwest, had always been a steel city, Dalton has been involved with and central to a multiplicity of trades, from bricklayers to pipe fitters to steel makers to carpenters and tradesmen of every stripe. It is also home to the very pathways to nearly every major and most minor cities throughout the Midwest. Their train yards and train tracks crisscross the village like a network of spider webs, opening the doorway to several hundred stops, several hundred destinations. Those train tracks and those trains that pass through at all ungodly hours of the day, night, and every step in between are the gateway to the rest of the world. As such, with time having passed, with moments having ticked by, with the coterie having died for the day, and Frost experiencing his second death in less than 24 hours, that creeping dread of knowing that something is coming. Always the level-headed person, because there was the opportunity for death around nearly every corner. Someone who would laugh willingly in the face of death versus face the real heart-stopping fear of the moment. Violence had become his addiction. Violence had become his drug of choice. It worked in much the same way for most alcoholics who have gone so far into the disease that they operate better, at least more steady, when completely sloshed. So in the heart of violence, Frost was perfectly at home. That panic, that stress, that raised adrenaline levels were his bread and butter. It was how he balanced things. It was how he viewed the world in the best case possible. But there is a dread, an anxiety that crawls over every kindred as death claims them, as the fear of the light of day crawls over their skin like 1,000 hungry spiders crawling towards their hearts, seeking to consume them whole. It is the first night Frost experiences that feeling of dread, that fear of the light of day, knowing that in moments, hell would take hold. It's not something easy to deal with, it's not something easy to grab, knowing that your body, your sense of being, your immortality is disappearing more by the second as the world grows warmer, as there's a brief flicker of light in the distance, far enough away to never be touched by, but far too close to not fear. And so, as everyone rolls a rouse roll, we'll start in alphabetical order upon the rising after Frost's death, after realizing that Robert is no more, after realizing that there is more than a simple game afoot, and you all are the centerpiece of several political machinations and attempts at conquering the world. So do you? Okay, we'll circle back. As we are going to be circling back, let's start in reverse. Zach, awakening with the bees clawing at your insides, disentangling from the limbs, of your loved ones, knowing that you really are wholly enmeshed in what is taking place. The conscious thought to end things and slowly pull away and establish a distance is akin to holding a dagger to your breast, to knowing that Romeo will never return, and that he has drunken all of the sweet poison.
Oh boy, this is absolutely crushing for Zach. At the same time, he feels like cutting them out is very necessary, both for him to grow as a person and for him to be more useful to the troop. He needs to get his personal drama done and over with and stop being Drew and Sasha's mouthpiece and start being his own person. And the only way to do that is to stop hanging around the people that have just been using him and to try to figure out just who he individually is.
As in all things, the decision-making aspect of making that leap is another matter entirely. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your resolve plus persuasion? And as you tear free, percolating in Zach's mind as he storms across the apartment floor, the shambles of the previous night's instances of communication laid bare. As he writes a table, he moves clattered and broken pieces of vases, and he writes the hanging of the tapestry there by the door, making his way into the restroom to clear his head, to grab the last few smokes of his pack. He realizes that his heart is beating as if he is being bared down by a lion or a tiger or some other heavy, strong, far too fast predator hounding his steps. Thankful that he does have the ability to look into the mirror and see himself as dead as he is, there's still very much the fact that he can't bring himself to do it. He can't. If he says it out loud, if he says it to them, things will really, truly be over. And there's the very real fact that the portion of him, a piece of him, a very large quarter of himself, knows that there is safety and security in Jerome. There is safety and security in burying his head and arranging musical groups, and there is a safety and security of just existing as a musician de jour and owner and operator of the Rosie. If he doesn't face the monsters of the world, he doesn't have to deal with the monsters of the world.
Crap. So basically, he's trying to break the cycle and is failing at it.
Thinking along those lines, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your intelligence plus presence?
Okay. Intelligence and presence. Holy crap!
Well, the anger that wells up in realizing the subtle touch, the creeping edges of your vision, realizing that there's a shadow there, a scent hanging about you that is not your own. There is a manipulation at play. One done so subtly and so strongly that the only thing that Zach knows for sure is that his mind, his emotions aren't 100% his own. And while he knows to stay calm, he knows not to try to address it because, well, heading into battle unarmed is about as smart as leaping off the top of a skyscraper expecting the wind to catch you. There is an outcome inherent in that, and there's nothing worse than losing himself even more. And while he knows he needs to stay calm, and while he knows that the outcome, if he addresses it head on, could be disastrous, the Sink, however, does not realize that his grip on the hand-carved porcelain is another matter entirely. And while he keeps from screaming his frustration, and while he keeps from lashing out in a violent direct assault on both because he's not sure which, the Sink bears the brunt of his anger, cracking beneath his grip, the water spewing all over the ceiling and lightly dappling his skin.
And unfortunately for Zach, he only knows 3 ways of relieving stress, and 2 of them are his addictions. Third one is his specialty, which is music. And right now, there's also the matter of getting back to the troop and helping them out with their own problems. Right now, he's thinking maybe it would be best to get away from his issues for a bit. Maybe if he gets away from the source of his negative emotions, they'll dial down a bit.
So dressing for the evening, Zach makes his way out of his apartment, looking over his shoulder, a seething sitting there in his eyes. The drive to Dalton could be made in 15 minutes. Zach crosses into Dalton 6 minutes from the moment of being completely dressed. And as Zach is crossing into Dalton, Seth, this is the second evening that you managed to stay and reside at the Pisketeers. There's a certain comfort that is borderline ostentatious. It never crosses into the gaudy. It never seems completely overbearing. But for someone so suited to utilitarian, just the basics, enough to get by, a donut instead of a croissant. This is like taking a vacation at the Four Seasons. What are Seth's oblations of the evening, rousing as he is?
Seth comes to, and his first reaction is, okay, where am I? Pisketeers, got it. Am I hungry? He negotiates with his beast a little bit and realizes they're on the same wavelength. And then he gets out of bed. He previously fired off a couple of messages and double checks to make sure there hasn't been any new responses. And without any rigmarole really going on and not the pressing need to feed, he's going to head upstairs to the main floor.
Taking the stairs slowly and steadily, much like his actual physical age versus physical one, where he actually is with his state of immortality. He moves slowly and steadily, firmly planting his foot on each step, dressed very much like a higher mid-tier cop, which is what he is in his head. He's a detective. He is an observer and a solver of crimes that have already happened, an avenger of sorts, writing things after they've already been made askew. There's a certain order and balance to that, to his way of thinking, his habitual way of thinking. And as he rounds the corner into the open space, the staff, who've been here every night he has been, and who move about their duty surprisingly effectively, efficiently, cleaning down tables and chairs and going over spaces that most would not expect. And though the bar is far more comfortable for him than the speakeasy down below, has the air of the neighborhood, the end of work mini vacation that can be found at the bottom of a glass. There's something about their orderliness. There's something about how well trained they are, despite their attitudes, despite their clear lack of knowledge at bartending, having experienced that on more than one occasion.
Seth wanders into the room and just watches the interplay between the ones he knows work at the Pisketeers on this level versus the kind that are doing their normal thing and trying to pick out any kindred that might be hunting this early in the evening.
Oh no, they haven't opened yet, which is the strange thing. They show up for their shifts, they do their prep, but they don't open and won't open without an official say-so from Nick. Just kidding. Dia.
So Seth is watching the ballet of prep while these guys all try to get ready for Dia's awakening. Seth still has a lot of questions about Frost turning and hasn't answered them yet. But right now he needs to focus on what he's planning concerning Milwaukee, Dia, the Chantry. So he does what he always does when he needs to think. He goes to the bar and orders a 30-year scotch. So he goes to the nearest bartender that is just not moving too much and tries to get a McClellan with no ice. I say try because he's tried before and failed.
Moving to the bar, it is his favorite bartender. Oh, look, it's the Elijah Wood guy. How you doing?
Mercies of heaven, fucking forgive me. Okay. I need a McClellan. Double. Neat.
McClellan? McClellan.
It's got a green label. It'll be near the top shelf. It'll say 30 on it somewhere.
Oh, you don't want to drink that old stuff. That doesn't taste as good. She grabs a bottle of Old Forester and pours you a shot. Try this. This is so much better.
I will drink this if you make me a double shot of McClellan to go with it. I promise. And I'll pay for them both.
Hey, if you want to drink the old stuff, sure thing, I'll pour you one. But why do you want to drink the bad stuff? Like it's old. It's like when they like age meat and it gets all dry and marbly and all you can taste is the fat. That's kind of what this stuff is. It's not that good. I thought you were one of Dia's friends. They always drink the good stuff. You should learn how to drink like they do.
No, Dia's friends always drink the expensive stuff. I drink the good stuff. I need you to focus with me. Look at my eyes. Look.
Nope, not doing that. Last guy that I looked in his eyes, I ended up with having to go visit several doctors to make sure that we didn't have a long-lasting mistake. But if you want the old stuff, I'll pour you the old stuff. Don't get don't get all uptight about it. God. She pours the double, which is actually closer to a 4-shot versus an actual double. And she sits a ice cube right down the middle of it.
Oh.
I know I'm supposed to put the ice in first, but I'm trying to make sure that you're taken care of. Like I'm pouring you a little extra. Don't tell nobody, okay?
I won't tell a soul, I promise. And
all right,
what I'm about to do, and I use dominate. I'm going to use my fucking dominate skill on this one. I use dominate to pick the ice cube out, throw it on the ground, and get my scotch. Wait, Jesus. Thanks for the scotch. And I...
Huh? Oh, yeah. Oh, are you going to be on Dia's tab or are you going to start your own tab?
You know what? Just for you tonight, I'm paying my own tab. That way, your tips, you don't got to claim. And I push $40 at her.
Okay, cool. And she just puts it into her bra strap. Like if you need anything, just come look for me, okay? You don't have to go through one of the servers. They're gonna cheat you.
Absolutely.
Because, for a double shot, that's... Well, hang on, let me go check. And she heads back over. Oh, shit. A double shot is $16. Don't worry about it. I got it.
Okay. I won't help with the math. You seem to have it under control. And Seth turns around and looks around the bar. Oh, there's anybody, just fucking anybody will show up to distract this one. So maybe the next bartender will take care of him from now on.
Question.
Yes.
I imagine that by now the troop would all have each other's numbers on their phone.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I can just fire off a quick text as Zach.
Okay.
Alright, awesome. That's all I needed.
So Seth is established. He's got his quad shot of fucking McClellan's, which is enough for the whole evening. He's gonna light a cigarette and wait for everyone else to come out of their dungeons. He doesn't want to encroach on Frost right on top of him waking up, so he's making a mental effort to stay in his seat until Frost finds his own way up here. Because if he doesn't, he will run downstairs and shake that bastard awake.
Hoping for the best. There's always a good... Silky smooth. Everything's good with that.
Yeah.
There is a undeniable aspect to their efficiency. There's a few frequent glances towards the door. You see a few people disappearing back stage, as it were, behind the bar and into the kitchen area. And they're literally waiting on pins and needles, hoping to make those tips, to make those gratuities, and to have that social interaction to which they have become. Much like most of humanity. They've adapted and adjusted. And so it is a borderline addiction, the need of people. You see a few of the staff looking in your direction, not quite sure whether they should approach or begin schmoozing you, but there very much is that need for interaction. And speaking of need, we turn our gaze to Seth. I'm sorry, I said Seth. We turn our gaze to Frost. There is a change that is undeniable. Always having been a heavy sweater when he slept, because he usually slept in full gear or the approximation as such. One of the few luxuries he allowed himself when on mission or on task was the removal of his shoes. As he awakens, it takes a few moments to cycle up to speed and realize that it wasn't an awakening. He was there panting and fearful for the light of day, and next there was just the inky blackness of death, a nothing. It was literally him blinking his eyes, and now he's ambulatory. The clothing that Dia provided him is almost the antithesis to what he was, to what he wore, to what he was accustomed to. This is the very definition of classy chic, well, casual chic, and it is cloying. He misses the weight of his gear. He misses the weight of his armor. He misses that pressure that he kept on himself of having to watch the doorway. And most pressingly, there is that pit of nothingness in the center of him that demands to be filled.
Okay. That was rough. Frost automatically moves his hand to grab where his pistol's usually holstered to just check if it's there, then realizing it's not because he's basically naked.
There is a certain comfort that most kindred take from having the beast in their ear. It means that there's another night, another opportunity for immortality to continue. As it is for Frost, having this be his first experience with that waking and that whisper just beneath notice of feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me. In his ear, takes a second to realize that voice is his own and is not the feed me of his father. It is the low whisper of his own voice demanding sustenance. Quiet enough to be ignored, but loud enough to not be forgotten.
Okay, Frost then looks around, sees if there's anything to just looks around for a cup of coffee. Then he realizes, wait a minute. Can I drink coffee? He says that out loud.
There isn't anyone present. It's just him.
Right. Okay. He starts putting his hand on his head and starts walking up to... Is it walking upstairs?
Well, stepping out of the room where he's in, he realizes he is in one of the further removed spaces. Clearly underground, clearly off the beaten path. He, having been down here before, didn't even realize that this space was available, or that it was actually part of the building, part of the establishment. It takes him a few seconds to track the sound of movement, the sound of activity. And he heads up the hall, He finds himself entering into the speakeasy where all of the partying takes place. The real Pisketeers Lounge. The areas of the building that only those in power or those who are part of the club know actually exist and what actually happens here or could be happening here. The young lady from last night, the taste of her on his lips is unmistakable. It is the very physical definition of joy in his mind at this moment. It was everything he needed, and he knows that is what he needs. Again, loud enough to not be forgotten, quiet enough to be pushed aside.
Frost once again ignores it, keeps walking. Again, puts his hand on his head and massaging his head like he has a headache.
The pressure is lightened, but the idea of getting accustomed to another voice and heart in his chest is a little different. He's cooler to the touch. He even notices it. His death throes having predominantly passed, there's still one very real fear he has. When he died, his stomach was actually filled. Well, not completely filled, but it was filled with aperitifs and little bites of this and that. And awakening to no mess means he knows what happens when a body dies. Luckily, the kindred vitae coursing through his system has not caused an explanation of such things just yet, but he knows that it's coming. He knows that there is the physical aspects of completely dying.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
He knows that he still has to finish dying. He knows that while undead, there's still visceral and viscera that needs to be expelled.
Oh, basically what Frost had for dinner. Like, not when he was alive, right?
Yes. Emptying into the larger space of the speakeasy, he finds the young lady, not the same from the night before, but the previous lady who was cleaning and sanitizing things and making sure that the space was predominantly ready for operations. And she greets him with a smile.
Hi.
How you doing? I heard that you treated Samantha pretty well. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just
No, you're not. None of you types are. But that's fine if you say that you're fine and you don't need anything. I will understand.
Can I just use the pot?
Not quite sure I've heard it called that, but if you think that you are up to it, I'd give you a tumble.
What?
What?
Like, alone. This is like... That's private, isn't it?
What are you asking?
Wait, I think I'm confused.
That much is obvious, and I'm trying not to lose my decorum. You asked for a tumble, but that's not what you meant to ask for. So what is it that you are attempting to ask for? And I will make sure that I get that for you, or find a way to make sure that you have access to.
Fuck it, I can't get drunk anymore. Whiskey with the fucking... some ice cubes. Wait, can I... Never mind.
Whiskey on the rocks? Do you like whiskey with a...
No, never mind.
Why?
Scratch that. Just some privacy, please.
You're asking for the restroom.
Yes.
In each suite, there is a facility you can use. So we don't have any guests currently, so either room would work for you for that.
Thanks. And Frost goes to one of the rooms.
Stepping into the suite, you unfortunately accidentally picked the one that is suited for a play. The swing and pillory and the very real leather facet of it is more than appearance. And while never a prude in life, Frost was considerably less adventurous when it came to such things. Doesn't take him long to find the loo. There's a full shower capable of showering 3. The toilet looks like something off of the Starship Enterprise. There's all sorts of knobs and buttons and
Yeah, Frost just starts like fidgeting with all the knobs, trying to figure it out.
Well, he found the warmer, the water jets for the bidet, the speed setting for the bidet, the pressure setting, as well as the massage option.
Massage option?
Oh, yes. And as he settles himself upon the commode, attempting to expel by force, instead of allowing the time for it to happen on its own, the massage option clues him into why the rumors, gossip, and double entendre about washing machines and dryers are so prevalent for certain members of the community. Even in his current state of death, with no flow to that portion of the plumbing present, there is a certain pleasure that comes from being, at least initially, gently massaged. And then as he fiddles with the buttons and the vibration ratchets up a few notches, he realizes that this could be quite pleasurable. He's never engaged in such things before. Good goddamn. Oh my God. So as he grunts and pushes and thinks on how to rid himself of that cooling dead mass in his gullet, we switch our gaze to Dia, who's awakening for the evening, who's resurrecting herself for the evening, who finds themselves in the unenviable place of having slept in the cool suite without Nicole.
Yeah. Awakes and looks at the overly large bed and indulges himself a little bit by hugging pillows, and realizes they're a little hungrier than they usually are. Probably stress related, and they get themselves up and shower and dress for the evening. Tonight they are going to wear a bustler style top, harness, all in black leather, and long like leather duster, and a pair of tight-fitting and a black pants with high knee boots, hair pulled up very high on top of their head, and a long ponytail, a little extra heavy on the kohl around the eyes, and a bit of gold gloss to their lips. They're dressing for the evening to be mostly downstairs in the speakeasy part of the club, but they will be going upstairs first to make sure that the staff knows that they are going to open tonight, like she promised them. So he heads up the stairs and looks around, snagging one of the staff members. Why are the doors not open yet?
Oh, hey! Seth is sitting there. Well, Nicole normally gives us the go ahead every night when we open. She normally the night before will let us know text whether we are opening on time or if there's a special delayed opening or if there's a private meeting or if we need to open only downstairs. We didn't receive that, so we just went set about making sure we're stocked up. And this guy doesn't like the good stuff. He didn't want the old Forester. He wants that McClellan, the old stuff. I gave him a discount.
That's fine. Just over to Seth with an eyebrow raise. I'll talk to you in a moment. But please, open the doors. I promised you we will open tonight, and I meant it. So please get service started and open the doors.
Okay, sounds like let me send out a few texts first. Some of my regulars know that we're going to be open. Hey guys, and she starts calling out to everybody, we're going to open, oh my god. And then you see almost instantaneously phones begin appearing in hands, and people start sending out texts and making Facebook announcements and sending tweets and sending snaps. And yeah, it's a conflagration of enough electronic interaction that you all can feel the 5G waves making sure that you guys are sterile.
While they're having that conversation about Scotch, Seth basically looks like trying to encapsulate the feeling he has and how it expresses. A whipped puppy clutching this glass of Scotch that he worked so hard for, and when Dia comes up and announces they're going to open and the bartender says he only likes the old stuff, he has a look on his face like a puppy that has just been beaten with his dinner.
Dia gives him a very apologetic look that very much says, I'm sorry she's so stupid, but she's pretty, so that's basically the whole point. Anyway, so watching everybody move around and making sure that everybody's getting started, she walks up to Seth and kind of chuckling. I understand, but look at her.
She put ice in my Scotch, Dia. Ice.
Oh no.
Oh, I had to use my powers to make her forget that I pulled it out.
Okay. I would appreciate.
I mean, I know she's pretty, and I know she draws in the kind probably by the bucket load. There's probably a line of guys out the door waiting to get their flat beer from her, but oh my god, you need to train her about Scotch.
It's on my to-do list, but at the moment, we might want to head back downstairs. I think somebody's awake.
Oh, thank God. Has he tried to drink yet?
I don't know. I was stressing. But the girl downstairs said that my friend was awake.
Okay, well, I'm gonna head downstairs. You do what you gotta do up here. and I will try to investigate what's going on with Frost.
Okay, sounds planned to me. And then once Seth starts to head downstairs, Dia will go to the back office really quick just to make sure she's gone through the checklist that Naomi would normally have of how things are set up for the night, making sure she hasn't missed anything. And
There's one singular thing, and most people would assume that it didn't mean what Dia is aware that it does. There's one word that stands out in all of the prep: delivery.
shit. So she calls their distributor for that specific item and tries to, I guess, arrange for a late delivery. Or a quick delivery.
Reaching out to the little dirty mechanic that normally was the messenger for delivery for Nicole. It is with no small sense of anger building that there isn't an answer. There isn't a response to the text. It is very much the start of aggravation.
Calls. My first night reopening. And the most important things of the evening is missing. Of course. Would there be a backup to that
Several.
person?
Several who should be able to direct you to them, or where they are, or where to meet them. And unfortunately, it's a ghost town. No one's returning calls. The messages stay in read, and the radio silence is deafening. And Zach, what's the first place you go to when you arrive at the Biscuiteers?
First place I go to? Oh, that depends on who he happens to see first.
Pick a place. You walk into the Biscuiteers, where would you head?
Oh, his first stop would be... would normally be the downstairs area.
Okay.
As that area is the most familiar to him.
So as Zach arrives and the lot is filling up and the street parking is surprisingly its usual openness, does Zach use the parking lot or the street?
For now, he uses the street.
Okay. So easing to a stop alongside of the curb, Zach makes his way towards the front door, which is opening almost as if they knew he was coming. Him and the several other folks who were hopping out of F-150s and Saturns and Chevys and Nissans, who are arriving as if they are the first in line to a concert of their favorite musical artist. You can tell that they are chomping at the bit to get back to their local watering hole and they are coming. Like the old video of lemmings leaping off a cliff. They're so packed so closely together that being run off in one direction causes them all to move in that direction. And Zach is carried along by the ebb and flow of conversation and jocularity that they have from seeing each other, not seeing each other over the last 2 days, but having spent several after work moments in each other's company, sharing a drink, buying shots, and carousing with the best of them, or at least what they believe is the best of them. Making Zach's way downstairs. The first sight is Seth outside of one of the suites, half in the doorway and half out. Making your way downstairs, Seth, the young lady there points towards a particular suite. When you stick your head inside the suite, you see that it is, in fact, for light bondage. There's nothing extraordinarily heavy or deep in regards to that, but there's, the paddles, the ticklers, the handcuffs, the swings. There's even a pillory, but you can tell that it's been modified for comfort versus, well, that sort of thing. So half in and half out of the door, Seth, in the suite that the young lady directed you to, what would you be calling out? What would you be saying to Frost?
I just poke my head in and see if I see Frost. And if I do, I'd be like, Frost, I know it's a rough morning. I know it's like the world's greatest hangover, but why don't you come with me?
I think I'm just about done here, so yeah, sure. Fuck.
We've got to get this bar redesigned. There's got to be like a booth for just hanging out.
We need a rustic vibe here.
I'm thinking dive bar vibe. Just one booth. It's just like dirty with shit on the floor. Coming up to the bar, the main bar, and let's wait for Dia to get things rolling upstairs. And then we can figure out what's going on.
Yeah, agreed.
And since Zach is just stepping in, right now, would he see Seth poking in, or would he just see the young lady?
As described, with Zach arrived with Seth halfway in the door, speaking into the suite. So Zach stood there and listened to that exchange.
Oh.
So Seth, Frost leaving with the worst case of impaction, because dead things don't move easily. Leaving the facilities, the vibrate still mildly on, and Zach in the open space of the speakeasy, just outside of the suite. What are you two doing? What are you two saying, if anything, or are you just gonna walk past Zach? Anyone still there?
Zach,
You- Wait, what was that?
Can you hear me now?
Zach, audio check.
I'm here.
Good.
Okay. Did you hear Storyteller?
Yeah, I think the storyteller was asking if either you two were gonna say anything or just walk right past me.
No, he was asking you if hearing what I said into the room, you were going to react to us.
Oh. Well, Zach steps a little closer to Seth and asks, what exactly did happen between the time I left and the time I came back?
Seth turns and sees Zach standing behind him because he wasn't expecting anyone else yet because he was waiting for Dia. He says, well, this happened. And then Frost walks out in his new, much paler, much more obvious guise as a recently turned member of our little group. This happened while things were progressing. And other than that, I think it's been a pretty uneventful evening.
Well, I'm glad somebody's time has been much, much calmer. It's then that they notice something different about Zach. His style of dress is as normal, his makeup is as normal, and his hair is as normal. But his face? He looks like he just aged 20 years.
I'm going to
And
assume, Zach, that you had a much more interesting evening after we all broke up.
Interesting. Try disastrous.
Oh, God. So, situation normal for our little group here. Because nothing else went wrong, something had to go wrong for you.
Of course. And there
Well-
isn't the usual warmth in his face. He looks tired. He actually looks like his real age and not the age he's froze at.
How about you and Frost establish yourself at the bar, figure out some kind of drink combination that will make things right, and we can all sit and wait for Dia to come down.
Ski on the rocks.
I'm game.
A what on the rocks, Frost?
Whiskey.
Are you sure?
Well, I can't get drunk anymore.
Yeah, but there's a part 2 to that caveat. Let me go get a garbage basket and then, yeah.
What do you mean?
Trust me. Not all vampires can handle their alcohol.
I wish I still could.
It took me back in my own younger days.
And
I've done shit I'm not proud of when I was
then but Zach looks around the speakeasy area to see if there's any kind in particular that catches his fancy.
Not yet. The space is just open, so the calls have been made for the downstairs premium staff to make their appearance. There is the bartender, the matron of the house, who manages to keep things running and operational. But she's behind the bar and is pouring a nice 3 años tequila for Frost. And while he said whiskey, she didn't bother to ask E or Y, she simply poured him tequila.
Seth is standing by with his scotch in his hand, cigarette in his lips,
Okay.
and garbage
Wait.
bin by his feet.
Did I catch the pour tequila instead of whiskey?
Yeah.
It's clear. Okay, then Frost goes, okay, if you're gonna send me tequila, it might as well not be tequila, it might as well just be Zima.
Oh, dear God. He did not say the Z word.
I did say the Z word.
I'm sorry. That's for specific premium staff. However, this is a very lovely sippable tequila.
Fucking
And-
Zima is premium staff.
And for
20 years ago.
based on your clearly ill state, perhaps we should try something a little less pricey than the whiskey. And she slides.
What,
the
you think
glass
I'm not good
towards-
for it?
Oh, no.
I'm surprised you're still on your feet based on the way that you look. I'd say that you are 2 to 6 days dead, or at least strung out.
Hey, do I
And-
have fucking bullet holes in me still?
Underneath the shirt, yes, you didn't bother to mend, and you didn't bother to rouse, so you very much look like the corpse that you are. So too does Seth and Zach, but
Frost, trust the bartender. Always trust the bartender. But don't go too far from me, because there might be repercussions.
and while she did say it's sippable, there's only 2 fingers in the glass. You've drunken more than that without. So do you knock it back or do you sip?
I knock it back.
Oh, shit.
All right. So that being the case, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your composure plus persuasion -2.
Oh, cool. Wait, I had the fucking sheet up, didn't I?
Zach, you as a proprietor of a bar have witnessed your fair share of kindred doing stupid pet tricks. And you know the repercussion normally of what happens when the kindred actually drinks or eats anything. What are you doing?
Zach, being Zach, is right now flirting with the bartender. Well, now, aren't you just a lovely thing? What can I do to convince you to, say, sneak off with me for a little while before the ball officially gets rolling?
The moment you say rolling, the right side of your jacket and hair and face is covered with what was formerly inside Frost's stomach. It could have erupted. It could have erupted far more explosively, but he held on. He pufferfished and pursed his lips and fought the burning explosion that started somewhere just south of his large intestine and rocketed through the entirety of them. The scent was starting his gag reflex, but that's usual with tequila for certain people. So he smiled it off and knocked it back. And as the smile began to spread, because it was actually quite tasty going down, it did not taste nearly as tasty rocketing free of him, spewing over the bar, covering the glass and himself, because it's not just tequila, it is the bulk of his last meal. And there's a certain design of kindred physiology that is bombarding Frost in his. The plumbing out from the downstairs doesn't work, hence the impactment. However, the line from the stomach or the atrophied remains of it up and out of the mouth is fully functional.
Steph, for his part, has raised the garbage bin he grabbed and intercepted as much as possible that was headed towards him.
Not to paint the picture too graphically, but there was several instances of what happens when people down or nearly overdose on ipecac. That is the effect of what's happening with Frost.
What did you say? Ipecac?
Ipecac.
Ipecac. It's what you give babies to make them throw up when they drink poison.
Okay.
Yeah. You're a human sprinkler, and
I like how you said when they drink poison, not if. When.
Yeah, I'm a father. They drink poison. It's gonna fucking happen. And I have used Ipecac, and I can tell you the side effects are impressive. Hence Seth having a garbage bin nearby.
I purposely caused this. This was my master plan all along. I'm joking. Of course.
And as the gobbets and bits from the previous meal and the stinging alcoholic juice of the tequila mixed with that bile coats the area in and around Frost. You've come downstairs to look for your associates. The problems of reaching out to that particular network in the moment being what it is, there's a certain portion of Dia that refuses to be a poor host, even to members of her cabinet, even to members of her coterie. Standing at the crux of the stair and watching the sprinkler that was Frost, and Zach leaned halfway over the bar, reacting as one would when doused in the liquid contents of another's stomach. Your bartender having managed to avoid the bulk of it outside of the few splatters that ricocheted off the frosted mirror and the bar. And Seth standing with a garbage can between him and the rough line of fire as it arcs from Frost. What is it that's on Dia's mind?
Murder. Everybody is going to die.
Why are you sounding like Mason?
I tried to stop him, Senator. I really did, but it was too funny.
Amusing, you find it? How interesting. Zach is trying his best to compose himself, even though he's now feeling the effects of Frost's decision on himself. Excuse me while I clean up. And then excuses himself to a suite to get a shower and change into something clean.
Seems this is all for the evening.
I apologize. I really should have said something. He's been hanging around me a long time. He had no way of knowing that I am an exception instead of the rule, but I had to see it.
Am I still perfect?
No, not exactly. You're dry heaving as there's not much left in it.
Oh.
She looks towards the bartender.
It's only trace años.
Just get somebody to clean it.
Of course, Dia. We have our beeline coming in tonight, so I'll be manning the bar. Julia disappeared, however. She hasn't responded to any of the text.
Of course not. That is the third problem for this evening. Do you know anything about the deliveries?
Of course, that was predominantly through Julia's network of associates.
Well, it seems nobody is answering their phones or texts. So we have a slight problem with that particular issue. For the evening, I will need to figure out alternative methods to get our product.
Dia, it's not my place to say. Julia always struck me as mostly untrustworthy, but Nicole was already ahead of that and had begun talks with... As she looks at your coterie members, the question clear. Is this something that we'll be discussing, or should she just wait?
I close the distance and lean in, putting my ear near their mouth.
She whispers a name, and would Dia attempt to put on airs, or would she let the shock sitting there register?
Depends on what the name is, but probably raise a brow at the very least, because they're pretty good at schooling their face.
Seth is still looking pretty abashed about the fact of not stopping Frost.
And once Zach's done doing what he needs to do, he makes his way back up.
When Frost is done heaving, he wipes his mouth and then just like
And
rubs the excess
makeup
on
is
his
back
shirt.
on, and his hair is in the style he was before. Only thing that's really changed is the outfit, which at the moment is a mesh shirt and a pair of black leather pants. Shoes would be visible through.
Do you still there?
She just sent a BRB message.
Okay. I did not check over there in generals. But it's 44 after the hour. Let's take a quick 10 and be back at 54 after the hour, okay, guys? So prior to our small break, so the studio audience can get up and stretch their legs, and the band can reset for the intermission. Dia standing on the steps. Frost is attempting to compose themselves after finding out why all that a kindred need comes from liquid matter, specifically blood or vitae. The bartender has already begun making calls to hurry people in far quicker than expected, especially the cleaning crew. Seth is setting down the garbage can, pretty sure that all that's left is the shame of regurgitating left for Frost. And Zach is emerging from the suite, the towel draped lazily around their mesh shirt. What is it that we're doing?
Hey, now you said that she whispered a name, but I don't know what the name exactly was. So, did we put that somewhere so that I know what the name they whispered was?
Of course.
Ah, crap. I had my suspicions, but yeah, hearing it. But yeah, so Dia kind of raises their eyebrow and keeps a stone face and tries to remember, do they have that particular person's number and the Rolodex upstairs?
No. However, as a senator, reaching other senators is usually something handled by Geneva if the information hasn't been shared. There is still the very real pressing fact as to what will be the outcome for Naomi, with the previous incidences taking precedence in terms of needing to be addressed most directly. The decision, as far as the village is concerned, has not been reached.
Okay, then that would be my priority right then. Dia would go to their own little personal corner in the speakeasy. Normally, I guess where Nicole would sit, or Nicole and Dia would have sat. And I'm sure there's a landline there. And they would make the call to Geneva.
I see you're settling in better than perhaps had been expected. How are you?
It's been quite the night already. I am calling to need a small bit of information, as well as to check into what all we're doing with having to pause the trial.
No. There isn't a pressing as Dwayne has pushed our need to circle the wagons, as they were, and ensure that those oh so violent members who attended are properly rounded up.
I see. Well, that sounds smart. Me and Dwayne would know security things, I suppose. Not my forte. Would you happen... Well, I'm sure you would have Blakeney's number. Or a way to reach them.
Senator Blakeney, of course. May I ask as to why you're contacting the most recent... Well, I'm sure you are aware of their recent affliction and their stay in the city. They were victim to, unfortunately, the tower's predations. Luckily, they managed to extricate themselves, and, well, rest and recuperation would be my particular suggestion. However, you know, invested they are in the safety of Dalton.
Well then, if they are doing better, then why not avail myself and make myself known to them so that maybe I can keep a better eye, I guess, on other possible interactions.
I see. Well, instead of a cold introduction, why not let us arrange a meeting out? You, Senator Blakeney, and the lovely warmth of the Adonis.
It does sound like it would be much more pleasant, but I'm afraid I can't quite get away tonight. So this is our first night be opening to Pescateurs since Cole. Sure, you know how important it is for me to be here.
I'm not entirely sure I do, but I understand if you me engage in a lengthy, dedicated research of my records to find the one number that may be of use. I will do my best to find the number as quickly as I can.
Are you being teasing?
Oh, but of course, always the tease, never the teaser. I will look through my records and find the contact information for you. I hope that I haven't misplaced it. You do know it is so hard to find good one's records.
Jennifer, you are quite interesting being. Okay. Well, as soon as you can, please.
Of course, I will dedicate as much effort as I can muster. You have a lovely evening.
Good evening. And they hang up and kind of rub their temple because they know Geneva was BSing them and they're not going to put any real effort into it, basically, because they wanted Dia to come be around them, but Dia put the kind of kibosh on that for the evening, so it's disappointed, pouting petulance that Geneva is kind of known for, and they are well aware. So, yeah. At least they're making inroads to solve their problem, so that's all they can do for the moment. And hanging up, rechecking on the cleaning of the basement, and checking where everybody else has gone.
Well, they didn't go anywhere. Dia stepped away. They were still there at the bar.
Yeah, so she's gonna go back to the bar and look at Seth and so it seems there are some other things we need to discuss. If I'm guessing correctly, because that's what I came down hearing before I heard other things which were quite disgusting.
Well, yes. There are other things to discuss, but on my list, I don't know how everybody else plans how their day is going, but your senatorialship is number 1 on my list. Number 2 is the domain in Milwaukee. And I would like to involve all of you in that. Dia obviously peripherally involved, but I have specific plans for Zach and Frost.
That's all about it.
Oh.
I understand me, but why Zach? No offense.
I've talked to Decker peripherally and on a very passive scale, and he's given me this little area which I asked for after doing some peripheral investigation. But for all my powers of observation and all my powers of investigation, there are certain things that any domain needs. It needs a place to relax, which is why I want Zach involved. And I need to push out the people who are going to make that impossible, which is why I want Frost involved. The area involved has 1 medical facility, 1 homeless facility, a bunch of housing, 2 strip malls, which I think Zach can take advantage of in putting in a Rosie's 2, or if you come up with a better name. And it's in Milwaukee, so there are actually basements. So, the ability to make a 2-story venue for Kindred underneath and Kine on floor level, it exists. I'm getting ready to push out all of the slumlords and nightmare landowners that live in the area. I want to turn this into a place where Kine want to live, but the downside is that with that kind of Kine, it limits the membership of Kindred who want to visit. Which, for me, is not that big a drawback, but for Decker, maybe. There's a big park, and I want to make sure the criminal element of humans get pushed out of that area.
That sounds like fun.
Well, I thought you'd enjoy that. But I also want to make sure that the criminal element of Kindred get pushed out, which might be a little more touchy. But
Tilda can be an answer to that.
But since the domain is granted, I can set any rules that extend the rules of Decker within the city of Milwaukee. So I really want as many of us involved as possible in all of this. There will be a minor library. It won't be a chantry, but it will be a minor library of the Tremere within the domain. Because I don't want to step on any toes. Because you guys don't deal with the politics I do, but an angry older Tremere is bad. So we're going to avoid that. But I want to get the kind figured out, and I want to get the kind placated. I want to get any kindred who want to come into the area aware of what we're building. So, Frost, kind of your problem. Zach, the kindred are yours. And if either of you encounter any kind of problems in your endeavors to make this aware, then you come to me. But I don't think, because this is an outlying little tiny lower middle class neighborhood out on the edges of Milwaukee, I don't think we'll encounter too many problems.
So, not the lethal option or the non-lethal option?
Non-lethal as much as possible. I mean, I haven't been able to get the records on the gang unit in that area, so I don't know how bad the kind are in that area, but I'd like to avoid mowing them down like chaff until it becomes absolutely necessary.
Okay, I can do that.
I imagine that being scary is something that you can manage to pull off pretty much on your own. Zach, the strip mall that I envision your club in is in the southeast corner, or no, the southwest corner of the domain. It's a strip mall, I know, try not to cringe, but it contains 2 beauty salons and a local fashion joint. I think if you can establish your club and then extend your influence from the club, you'll be able to own that whole corner of the domain without much effort.
Well, it'll be easier if I have a few fans there, perhaps. Have I ever mentioned my channel by any chance?
Channel, I'm gonna try not to show my age here. Do you mean that the TikTok or the Instagram? YouTube? Yeah, I mean, totally. If I can cut off this one part of the strip mall and let you renegotiate it, you can put whatever signs you want on that, and then extend the influence out.
Excellent.
Speaking of extending influence, unbeknownst to most, not in a semblance of power, unbeknownst to most kindred who could not afford the rate of exchange, Biscuiteers has always been a speakeasy, going back to the late 20s or the 1900s. It has always been a space where those with power and those who sought power congregated. The last few nights of it being closed upset the equilibrium of many. So hearing that it is in fact open, hearing that it is in fact operational, the sound of feet along the stairs and the back restrained and hidden tunnels opening as people make their way in from across and down from and into, using various means and various keys they have been given over the course of the last few years, and for some passed down from father to daughter to son to grandson to granddaughter. It is the best kept secret. In fact, is one of the many truisms. Rich people don't join the PTA. They start cults. They start secret organizations. They have ways to enjoy their status without it being affected by the public. And the Biscuiteers Lounge is such a place. So as the staff settles in, the mess that was once inside Frost's stomach easily and quickly cleaned up, them making themselves visibly invisible, near enough to help or offer services, but far enough away that they seem to not have been there to begin with. The magic of the place begins to make the darker corners darker. It makes the shades and days and lounge chairs, sumptuous beds of pleasure. And as each begins to enter with their chosen poison of the moment, their chosen sample of flesh and other worldly things that you can't find anywhere else in Dalton for free or with such a discount, because while money is exchanged, the truth of what they're paying for is discretion. The truth of what they're paying for is privacy. The truth of what they're paying for is their fantasies made reality. And as you all sit discussing plans of Milwaukee and ignoring the needs that may come into bearing, it's not long before the corners are filled. The suites are filling up. And Dia is pulled to the side as the matron of the house. We are in need. It will not be long until we will need far more than a few dregs that we have access to. We don't have enough to remain in operation for the entirety of the night.
Okay, I understand. If I step out for the evening or part of the evening to fix this problem, do you think you can handle the floor by yourself?
Of course I can.
Would it be better if you stayed here and we stepped out?
Oh, see, the person I need to talk to will probably not speak with you necessarily.
I can always lend some of my own resources.
Frost leans over to Seth.
Oh, I will make arrangements.
And
Steps to the downside areas to make a phone call to his employees.
and whispers
To
to
see about getting some access resources brought over to the Pisketeers.
Which resources are you attempting to have brought to the Pisketeers?
Mainly things needed for certain types of beverages.
Oh no, they're stocked. They're significantly stocked on alcohol, beer, and pretty young ladies and pretty young men. They could operate above board with such for quite some time. They have bottles that have not been opened since 1960. They have a fully stocked wine cellar. They are one of the few bars that actually have Bordeaux's and ports that are older than most adults who are in the building.
Oh. So, I take it what's needed is either more on the financial side of things or on the kindred side of things?
That would be the absolutely perfect guess. pushing Dia for an answer as well. What exactly is needed? Because as Zach makes their way to step away, taking a quick glance at the bar, doing a quick cursory, as a bar owner, there are certain things that you know are needed. And a quick cursory look at the bar, because you haven't had the opportunity to get a view of the rail. There's enough on that back bar to serve the entire population present, plus some. There's no way that they need anything there.
And of course, I take it Dia's already stepped out.
Nope, you guys are there talking.
Oh. So it's then that Zach looks over to Dia. How may I assist?
Trying to phrase this delicately. Need something of the more thick and red variety.
I see.
Preferably still in its original container, if possible, but also not for those who don't prefer it that way.
That gives an understanding nod. He has a few employees who specialize in servicing Kindred in subtle ways. And he gets on the phone, steps to where he won't be heard, and calls those particular employees.
Seth becoming more aware of what the actual needs of the Piscator is, steps not forward, but makes himself obvious. Lord Senator, I can't help in this area, but I think either me or Seth should be, or me or Frost should be involved in either side of this. One of us should be with the procurer and the other one should be with whoever remains behind.
Wait, before we do anything, how do you, do that thing you guys do? I'm still, like, riddled with holes.
Well, if you're gonna be specific, you could ask us what specific thing you're asking us? What thing we do when?
I guess, so when you get shot, I've seen you do it where you just fucking close the bullet hole and you're healed.
It's hard to describe, but you've heard the little voice in your head, right?
Feed.
Yeah. Him? He actually speaks more clearly once you get a little older. But if you get hurt and get behind some cover, you can convince him to heal you. That little demon, we all call it the beast, for the most part. The beast at any point can heal you for whatever damage you've done. The problem is that any time the beast does you a favor, he wants blood in exchange. And it isn't like when you were a ghoul where the blood just made you strong.
Yeah, I understand.
This thing will take blood and do what you want it to do anytime you ask. But there's a point at which it will, I think the colloquial term is drive you fucking nuts. And it will take blood and use your body to get it.
Okay, so what? All I have to really do is like think, ask it in my head, heal me. If it can heal me.
You don't even have to ask it. You just have to will yourself to heal.
Okay, I'm gonna try right now.
But the beast is doing the healing, and the beast wants blood every day, all day. Every day you wake up, it'll try to consume some of the blood that you have in you. Every time you heal a wound, it will try to take some of the blood you hold. And as it gets hungrier, it gets more powerful.
Yeah, but I'm like half a day old?
Yeah, you're a half a day old, but we all have the same amount of blood in us. We all have the same amount of hunger in us. You've seen me eat. You've seen how many bags of blood that I have sucked down. I do that every day just to make sure that I'm ready to face the next day.
Speaking of sucking down and taking care of oneself and feeding the beast, Tyvin, you've only been here when it had closed business, when you all were handling specifically kindred activities. As you approach for the evening, having squared away your daily operations, it is a veritable county fair. There are Fords and Chevys and Nissans parked on the street. The lot is nearly filled and more people are still coming in. It was as if a smoke signal went up and the fires of Gondor were lit. They came and are coming in droves. And the upstairs is just about filled with all sorts of swarthy, blue-collared men and women who are coming to bask in their mundanity.
Where are we exactly?
The Pesketeers.
Okay. Do I see anybody that I would recognize?
No, and you make your way downstairs, arriving in the midst of a party in full bloom. The back wall, the back banquet area is filled with faces you do recognize. There's Dia and Frost and Seth and Zach, and there is clearly something afoot, because as you enter, Frost is vibrating with an energy you can best describe as barely contained rage. His eyes are a little bloodshot, his pale flesh slick, smooth.
I think Tyvin walks up to Dia, like walking past Frost and like doing the dude, Dia, how are you doing? And mwah, mwah on both like cheeks, and will then walk to look at Frost and like, what's the matter, dear? You look like you someone pissed in your Cheerios.
I'm good. Just healed a little, I think, and he like lifts up his shirt to see if to see any bullet holes closed.
Oh no, they are closed. But here's the thing: the idea of healing is a complete and total misnomer. There isn't a knitting of flesh, not in the way that humans and animals, living things heal. Frost, when lifting up his shirt, realizes that there is a nearly imperceptible sealing of the flesh, where it literally has pushed the bullet into the upper epidermal and closed behind it. There's no nice, neat scar. There's no keloid forming. There's none of the normal healing he has experienced over the course of his rough and tumble life. The flesh just decided to meet its other opposite end and close. It's a mending. And it's unsettling. For someone who has lived so rough and tumble, who has experienced all sorts and all manner of injuries over the course of his life, he knows what a properly set bone is. He knows what a properly sutured laceration is. He knows how to triage a bullet wound. And this is the distilled essence of the opposite of that.
It's a little creepy, but whatever. This is a little louder now, though.
Are we teaching him things? Is he learning?
I would think so, otherwise we can't have him just wandering around not knowing how to do. So we are having a bit of a lesson, yes.
No longer a tequila guy.
Yes, you will find that drinking is not something that you will favor. There are ways around that, though.
I was done with alcohol anyways for the past few years.
Well, if you ever want to know the secret of getting drunk, just let me know.
No thanks. Bad things happen when I get drunk.
I think bad things happen when we all get drunk.
I don't know about you, but I love getting drunk, says one of the servers as they set down the very last bottle of the good red in front of Dia.
Are we seated?
Seated, lounging, hanging out in a gym.
Okay. I think Tyvin will slide into a comfortable spot and, look at the coterie as a whole and go, well, I hope I haven't missed too much. Handling business and all.
Just me barfing on Zach.
And the bar, and the bartender, and the floor, and nearly on Seth.
Oh, that
That's just
sounds,
life.
sounds a little rough there.
It was funny.
Actually, mostly we were just discussing some issues I'm having with running the bar Raina Gold used to. Some missing shipments and the providers of those shipments being missing in action, I would think. Nobody's answering their phones, it seems. So I'm trying to find replacements quickly because we need them for this evening.
Oh, well, how many do you need?
Storyteller, do I know what like an average delivery would entail or contain, I guess you could say.
The average partial shipment? Yes. Roughly equivalent to $500,000 in product. Base, cheap, unaffected blood is right at about $1,500 for the small 10cc size, and it only goes up in price from there. Now, of course, that's almost completely and totally the retail price with a small discount based on volume. Then you have to remember that that price is multiplied if it's from someone living, someone who has imbibed, someone who is imbibing with the various flavors such as whiskey and vodka and methamphetamines versus weed versus cocaine, and those always add to the cost.
Okay, fair enough. And they look at Tyvin and smirk. Well, hold on. And then they grab a napkin and write down that amount and slide it across. This is what we would normally spend on that particular delivery.
I look at it. Does it seem feasible within my knowledge and understanding that I could make this happen, or that I know somebody that could possibly make this happen?
Well, there are several members of the blood trade in and around Dalton, typically around Dalton. The city's always, of course, the largest place to collect such things. However, in the last 6 or so years, the most reliable sources have been at a church not far from the Adonis or Secrets, where low rent, low level, you're able to collect, for a decent price, medical grade and slightly better. There's also rumors that one of the senators has been entering and has entered into the trade. But, people talk. So a portion of that, most definitively. Will it all be top tier, Duce or better level? Probably not.
I could probably get half of the stuff on this list. The bulk of it probably wouldn't be up to our taste. He says to Dia, he will.
Well, I will take what I can get for the evening until I can patch and further repair whatever supply lines I might have access to.
Speaking of patch, Zach arrived and the look on Zach's face is one of, are you fucking serious? Having reached out to all of their contacts throughout Riverdale, the few kindred that have dealt or attempted to deal from the Rosie, who've attempted to mix kind business and kindred business, and, well, to be perfectly honest, there's no other way to view Riverdale except for the Wild West. You can get away with whatever you can get away with and do as much or as little as you seek to do. Unfortunately, that does not lend itself towards the reliability one would expect. However, not diving into that aspect of the business. The blood trade is a very difficult business. It's very hard on those who maintain any longevity. Zach returns with the knowledge that there has been a drought of sorts, a forced closing of several purveyors. It's as if someone is attempting to corner them. How does Zach explain that to the coder?
Jack explains that, unfortunately, the resources that he was attempting to provide have gone from a splash to a dribble. It is as though somebody is specifically going out of their way to either screw him over or screw his contacts over.
Since that part of the course of the evening, I think there is something afoot. I'm believing that a certain major player in the blood trade has been taking out smaller members, if I had to guess. Now, as to which one of them it is, I have no clue. I am not particularly well versed in that whole situation, as I was just a purchaser and not an actual supplier of any specific thing. So, what my contacts were with my contacts, and now that I don't have them, I need to find other ones. I must stay in business, so I don't want to get myself in the middle of a pissing match, as it were.
Would it be feasible, storyteller, for Tyvin to get in contact with his suppliers to see what their situation's looking like before he makes any like solid, like, I can do it or not?
Sure, of course. Reaching out to contacts is not that. What you'll need to roll in Tyvin's case with his contact would be his charisma and contacts. At this point, your target number, unfortunately, is 5.
Okay. So just charisma and my contacts, huh?
Yes. And while Tyvin is making that roll, anyone else?
Can I rouse the blood to increase my charisma?
Yes, of course.
Seth has very limited inroads to the blood bank or blood sources. He always dealt with street level dealers.
Yep.
So, for what Dia is looking for, he's a very.
I get hungrier?
Oh, yes. It would be so easy in a gathering such as this to wine and dine any of the few powerful and some of them who actually are attractive into a little dark corner, like a little small sip. After all, you know, you gotta spend a little money to get a little money. And you gotta take a little blood to get a little.
Yeah, I just think about, I tamper that down and I go, you know, wait till we get the good stuff. Oh no!
Oh, siphoning through his veritable electronic Rolodex, his contact list looks like the cite page for a research paper on the definition of every word ever spoken. It is a nearly endless scroll list of contacts, and he cycles through them quickly, firing off a text here, firing off a text there, WhatsApp here, using a Google Doc as a message platform there, and the resounding result is, damn, if you had only reached out 3 days ago, 4 days ago, 5 days ago, shit's scarce.
I look over at Dia with that. It's not looking good, she.
They just kind of laugh and reach for their phone again, and this time they are going to call Erzuli in Chicago.
Reaching out to Erzuli is going as high on the chart of associates as you could possibly go. Unfortunately, the timing of such thing, you hear a racing engine. You hear, "Go, child, I don't know who this is, but I'm in the middle of something. What's going on?" And you can swear you hear fireworks distance, or something close to fireworks.
What the absolute hell is going on there?
Let me give you a call back as soon as I get free of this. This is, you keep your head down. Don't tell nobody you talk to me. Click.
The absolute fuck is going on? Chicago is losing their absolute freaking mind, apparently. Some sort of shootout or fireworks display. I have no clue what else to do except this one person, and
Steph is staying close to Dia. He's not saying anything at this point because this is outside of his realm of things he knows. But he's staying close but behind and in the shadows of Dia.
Oh, that means that he was close enough to discern that those were not, in fact, fireworks. Judging by his approximation, that was about 6:38 shots being fired. Sounded also like maybe a 9mm, probably a Browning at this point. They're easier enough to get your hands on.
9mm also could be a Glock.
Yeah, Brownings are cheaper.
When Seth narrows down the sound, he waves to Frost to hold back with him so they can form a firing line of some kind, but stay close within like 3-4 meters of Dia.
what he's saying is that you heard it over the phone. I had called my friend Erzuli in Chicago, and Erzuli was running from somebody shooting at them, and you heard it over the phone. But there's nobody shooting at the club, it was over the phone.
Yeah. Seth is a cop. He hears a gunshot wound. He maintains a 3-meter perimeter around the VIP. That's what he does. And he's also assuming that if your contact is being attacked, there's a 25 to 45% chance that you're going to be attacked in the near immediate future. Okay, so at this point, he actually uses his voice. What are we dealing with here? You've got plenty of liquor upstairs, but the downstairs doesn't have the drinks required?
Correct. Nicole normally got a delivery every night before opening, and that was the only thing I missed. And when I attempted to reach out to my normal providers, I found that nobody was answering, and they could not be tracked down. And now I'm starting to wonder, hearing that some of the smaller venues were being hit, they were not part of that specifically, and possibly either have been run out of business or killed, which puts me in a bind because I've been made aware by the staff that we are, well, this bottle is our last.
Okay. So, smaller groups are being hit. Bigger groups are being starved. I've dealt with these people because of my dietary needs. If there's a problem, then it's going to expand into the larger venues, which you are the largest in the city, as far as I can tell. So whatever happened to the little ones is going to happen to you in the near and immediate future. Either starving you out.
Well, it's more the fact that the actual members of the trade, smaller groups, are being taken care of or ended, and the larger, more powerful members are also seeing somewhat of a drying up of things, but they can stay afloat because they are larger.
Any part of this means that the kindred part of your business is under threat.
Most likely, yes.
So we need to buttress and protect now. Before they get here, we need to put that in our mind. And if it doesn't come to pass, it's all good. If it does come to pass, we're ready.
Speaking of ready, Tyvin's phone all but vibrates out of his hand as you all are speaking.
He will answer his phone.
Speaker.
Ty, you don't text. Tell me you're okay.
As we're very busy, I am doing lovely. How about yourself?
Considering everything that's going wrong here, we're doing actually quite well. Business is surprisingly robust.
That's always wonderful to hear. I would like to see if a dear friend of mine, you could help them out, as well as myself, of course. Think of it as a lovely favor from one loving parent to another.
Oh, Ty, I did offer you a place here on the staff, but considering this is an official request, why don't you come meet me?
Of course, where would you like to meet?
Here. Come home. Come to Salacious. We can talk. I'll set aside a room for us.
That would be lovely.
How many are in your +1?
Let me see. this is above the table. How many people would I know that I need to tell this person? I'm counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh. That is unusual for you. But it shouldn't take you more than an hour to get here. I'll have a room set aside. Speak with Johan at the door so we can escort you properly.
I wait on bated breath to see you shortly.
Excellent, Ty. Ta-ta for now.
Of course. And he will hang up. Look to deal with a smile. I do believe I may have solved your problem.
Thank goodness for that.
I sense a butt in there somewhere.
No buts. We just need to go to a Salacious.
But do you know where Salacious is?
Perhaps, actually. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your intelligence plus occult or just look at the whiteboard?
He is a politician. What need does she have of a cult?
To be a cultist leader, you need pluses in occult and
Kind of the
politics.
same as a musician like Zach would need.
No. I feel like actually politicians do have points.
Okay, got it. It's been some time since I was out that way, but I do, I think, remember that particular place.
Well, our saving grace awaits for us in Salacious, and everyone's invited.
It's just salacious place.
Well, the only thing I was about to say is, isn't Gary a bit hot at the moment?
Gary is a bit hot at the moment.
Yeah, didn't like a building blow up a few weeks back?
No, that is the biggest concern. The biggest concern is the hunters are in Gary.
Hunters?
Not the singular hunters, the group. The federally backed hunters.
Wait, those exist?
Oh, yes. There are humans that have a specific skill in hunting and finding us.
We have to be non-lethal with those guys?
Oh no, we find those, we go full on.
Huh, alright. Well,
You get
hopefully
cut loose.
we do not go... not hit up... get, see them.
I do suggest we try to just blend in.
Yeah, that's the plan.
So not Matilda. Got it.
But Matilda's little sister, the pistol,
Oh,
bring her.
the pistol? Wait, what did you just say?
Matilda's a 50 caliber. Bring the Desert Eagle.
Matilda is the SUV, the armored vehicle.
Shall I tag along as well? Or would it be best for me to stay put?
I think we should split resources.
If you want to split successes.
Well, no. Nice try.
Haven't you ever heard of that weird kind game D&D? You never split the party.
Yes, I've heard of it. But somebody needs to stay behind to protect the Pisketeers. Somebody needs to stay behind to protect that person.
Well, if we all go, then nobody needs to stay behind to protect the person who's protecting the Biscuiteers, because the Biscuiteers are pretty much protected, so.
What, by their bartenders? They don't even know not to put ice in scotch.
Look around you, Seth. The basement is full of other kindred. I don't think they would let the Biscuiteers be taken.
Well, at least not by kind.
No, not at all. And as you all are talking, there's an impossibility that sits before you all. In a moment after striking out repeatedly, Tyvin was able to reach out to some source that could have the resources you need. And based on directions, would Tyvin give directions, or would he?
Can you give a generalized area of where it's at?
Not only is it in Gary, it's on the east side of Gary. Actually, technically outside of Gary. Technically. Would Tyvin describe where they're going?
No, he would want that to be a surprise.
Okay.
Frost, leave Matilda here. Bring Bertha. Bring the heavy caliber pistols.
Always.
Armor up.
Oh, I still need my armor?
It's always a good idea. I mean, yes, you could take a bullet better than before, but you're still taking a bullet. So I prefer you in armor.
So he's just going to leave you guys to go home to get his armor? Remember, everything that was on it was cut off.
Oh shit, his armor isn't here?
Yeah. My pistols are, because I always have my pistols on me.
Shit. Okay, Frost. Just remember, cover is your friend.
Always.
Yeah, kind of rolls their eyes. But alright, if we're going, we might as well go. And she's
Getting ready
the floor manager and lets them know I'll be stepping out for a portion of the night and hopefully come back with better news. Hold down the fort the best you can. Thank you.
Now, having given directions, does Ty give the most direct directions, just give the address and let the driver handle all of the other details?
He will give not the fastest route, but the second fastest route.
Okay. That is. That is, instead of it taking the most direct route, taking 94 down to the I-80 and over, up and around, you guys shoot north and cut across 142nd, back towards the 94 and take the longest way. It's still quicker than taking the streets down and around, but the Skyway, as always, is congested. The Skyway, as always shows that it needs more than just a typical every year patch up seasonal. The Skyway gives you all an opportunity to look northeast out onto Lake Michigan and realize, yeah, that's just wonderful. It's an inland lake. It is an ocean unto itself. But even you all being deceased, being dead, being monsters of the night, you know that from this height, if anything were to happen on the Skyway, there's one thing you could pray for. That is true and final death. Traveling through Gary all the way to Melton Road is a trip unto itself. Those of you outfitted mentally for militaristic actions notice all of the police officers. There's literally more state sheriffs, state police, and GPD on the streets than you have seen ever, including if Dalton had a national emergency. It is more cops on the streets per capita than you thought were possibly even in this region of the state. Even still, no one's really being stopped. There are not many checkpoints. It's more of them watching and waiting. It's like they're staging the next step in crushing all resistance to whatever it is that they're fighting. Reaching Salacious. It is impossible, but yet there it is. Someone literally reached into the design of the speakeasy of the Pisketeers and built an entire facility dedicated to it. The outside is boxy, almost plain, almost. But those of you who had opportunity to spend time at the Pisketeers notice the telltale signs of someone with a design degree at work, someone who has focused their attention on revealing themselves and hiding themselves. The moment you step inside, the sumptuousness of the speakeasy portion of the Pisketeers Lounge is apparent in every step into the place. The Pisketeers is quiet and classy, and you have to be in the know to take part of the real party of the place. Here, the fact that you are allowed in, the fact that you are allowed here means that you are clearly one of the right people. The head door guy, Johan, looks you all over and sees Ty, and instead of questioning the fact that you all are walking in armed, as you all walk past, clearly simply says, "Keep your safety." And welcome to Salacious.
Ty will smile and give Johan a big hug and go, "Oh my God, you're good. You lost weight. That diet working out for you."
Keto, bro.
100%. And he will smile and walk inside.
Hey, she's up in the dragon room. She's gonna make it, her do her thing, but, if you want to try to cut her off.
Nah, the show is the best part.
And what a show it is. Silk, as most of the regulars and those who have been allowed to spend time here know, puts on the absolute preeminent display of what being a Toreador in Indiana could be and should be. All eyes turn to her as she stands on the balcony watching you enter and begin making her way towards you. Those of you with presence, would you be so kind as to roll your composure plus presence? Those of you without presence, would you be so kind as to roll your resolve plus composure? Your target number is 5.
You said composure and presence.
Yes.
Composure and presence, what's our target number, if any?
3.
So calmly said that.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh, wait.
Smashing success.
No. I don't think it's worth it. Free fall. The overdressed monkeys. What? Wait, why is this pop? Oh, it's. Never mind.
All right. So if it's not Bromstein, it's not really from Germany. No, but in all seriousness, as you all enter in and the show begins, it is as if you all are suddenly traipsing across the main stage on Broadway. Pick any theater, doesn't matter. You all are the show, you're part of the show, and you are props at the same time. Seth, Frost, there have been a few times where you guys have been speechless. There have been a few times where you've been dazed by the starlight, struck into a near fugue state. This is one of them. You've seen beautiful people. It is par for course. You've seen them in Indianapolis, you've seen them in Dalton, you've seen them in Milwaukee, but Silk, as is her namesake, is very much that and more. She holds your gaze as if she is the most entertaining thing you have ever had the opportunity to be near. And your military and police training helping you take in the fullness of what's happening, you realize that you're not the only one struck by just how lovely she is. It is as if she's floating along on a gust of your adoration towards you, gliding down the steps as if she barely has connection with anything earthbound. And every gaze focuses on her. Dia, Ty, Zach, she's good. She is so very good. It's such a subtle smack across the bow as to make it all the more obvious to you all. You've all each been gifted with some training, if not masterful training, in how to sway the crowds, how to move the attention where you need it to be. And here's a textbook example of how to do so on such a minor level that it seeps into everyone's focus and attention, drawing it to you. A minor entrancement designed to make an entrance. And she glides along. Go on.
I think Ty smiles and claps. He's like, brava, Bella, beautiful, beautiful.
She eases to a stop, smiling. Air kisses both cheeks before she actually plants a kiss on his forehead. It is a pleasure to see you all. And who are your friends?
Let me introduce you. This is Senator Cordelia. This is her hired muscle, Frost. This is Seth, the grumpy cop. And this is Zach. Another one of a lovely rose to add to the bouquet.
It is a rarity that there's so many of us together at once. Right this way. We'll head to the dragon room. Having been raised in and around Silk, you know that the dragon room is unlike what most people expect. It is not a place that is Asian fetishized. The dragon room is actually a earth tone and gold designed to make one there.
So it's like a dragon's lair.
Yes. As you all enter, she moves to the landline, picks it up, and says, "Now, please," before taking a seat along the back wall, motioning for you all to gather and sit as you will.
I think Tyvin has like a particular seat he sits in. Like she has like a favorite chair, and his chair he would normally sit in is like right next to it. So he will sit there.
Seth follows Dia in. He's still dumbfounded, but knows his place. So he wanders in and waits for Dia to find her chair and stands behind it.
Dia, Frost, Zach.
Miles at Silk and it's sort of like half bow, and thank you so much for your invitation to see your lovely club, and perhaps have a bit of a chat this evening. I hope.
That would be lovely, she says as she absently strokes Ty's forearm.
Frost saw Dia bow, so he does a little bow and sits next to Seth.
And Zach stands to the other side of Dia, basically just drinking in the scene.
You will find a seat that kind of faces both Silk and Ty, but is still conversationally close enough to not be rude.
Well, I know you've traveled far to arrive here. Ty, however, didn't say exactly what it is that you all may be in need of. I have my suppositions, of course. But first, and as she pauses, saying first, walking in through the door is the cast for nearly every America's Best model going back at least several seasons. They're in various sizes, dates, various gender choices, and they are all supermodel worthy. They're the sort of faces and put on face of any magazine anywhere in America as a centerfold. They are a literal rainbow of skin tones, eye color, hair color, and dressed inappropriately showy, but tastefully so, and almost modest. The clothes hold and hug and their physiques without being sexual, just a little sensual, a little lewd, a little, you know what you're getting beneath the package. Like someone tried to gift wrap a guitar.
And it's here that they all hear a purr from Zach, basically letting them know that he likes what he sees.
Oh, I see. Ty, you didn't tell me you were associated with so many bawdy and tasteful individuals. If you would like, these are the aperitifs I offer.
No thanks. Not to be rude.
I think when he says no thanks, I think Ty just kind of looks at him and goes, "Don't be rude."
Dia also definitely looks at Frost and raises a brow.
Like I said, I'd rather indulge on criminals and those who deserve it.
Darling, you are far too young to have figured out what your tastes are just yet. And it was rude.
It doesn't matter
to
about
abuse your
taste.
host.
It's morality.
Morality.
Seth is still hovering over Dia like a vulture, waiting for something to fall in front of her.
I don't mean any offense by it, Miss Silk.
Oh, it's quite alright if you do. I completely understand. You wear your death about yourself as if it is your car. I
Yes.
understand. However, I would expect that Ty to have enlightened you some for our company. But, as I'm sure that he's quite busy manning the wall and reaching for that brass ring.
I thought that him being new to this realm, I thought he would be more tempered. But it seems I was wrong, and I will make sure that this will never happen again.
No, of course, I completely understand, Ty. My God. Senator Concordia. So, Dalton.
Indeed. Unfortunately, I would have preferred to not have taken this place, but unfortunately, it is my duty, seeing as how Nicole is no longer with us.
I was hoping that would not be the case, and that perhaps Nicole finally deposed that dom of yours, but I understand. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm normally not speechless, but that is a bit troubling. That does mean that I'm sure you, by others attempting to take Nicole's position within our garden.
Apparently there was another who was slated to lead, and mysteriously they found themselves murdered the night of my ascension, the night before my ascension. I don't quite know because I wasn't there. It's just the rumor that was going about.
Forgive me. I'm sorry. I must address this. I would take the greatest pleasure if you all indulged. I would take the greatest of offense if you did not.
Ross looks at Silk and goes, it means that much.
Chooses to take the host up on their offer. Basically perusing among who is being offered and trying to determine who catches his eye the most.
For Zach, there is a such thing as too much finery, too much choice. Zach finds nearly a dark-haired twin to Drew, and a slightly healthier, more bosomy version of Sasha. Their Anglican roots showing through the similarity of lineage. There's a lovely, nondescript Asian boy, waifish, almost bird-chested, but there's musculature there. And he smiles and he looks between them. There's a large, nearly Neanderthal-looking gentleman who steps forward clearly proud of his physique, proud of his chest, proud of his arms. Clearly haven't skipped a few leg days. The assortment literally is a vast variation on the theme of attractive in all of its permutations.
Zack settles his eyes on the Asian boy, taking a step closer. Well, now, how would you like to accompany me for a little fun?
It would be my pleasure.
Zack offers his arm and looks to the others. Well, now, it seems I've made my decision.
He looks to Frost and says, "That tall, muscular one. I think you would find him challenging. If you like to hunt your food."
I don't know.
Come now, don't be shy. I'm sure he's not.
I mean, I always loved to hunt before I needed to. So, how does this work? Exactly.
Silk leans forward. If you need a little bit of violence. And she stands up and moves to the gentleman that Dia had marked. She leans forward, whispering in his ear. The lights dim everywhere except for where she is. You feel like there is a spotlight going on, centered on where Silk is. And then he nods, rolls his neck and rolls his shoulders. And then Silk turns around, a smile on her face, and waves towards the others who are nearby, having them back up a few feet. Moving back to her seat, the lights. Ty, do you remember? And she looks towards the gentleman standing there, who literally points as if he's Bolo from Bloodsport towards Frost.
Oh my god, yes.
So you're the little bitch that insulted the host. Bring your ass.
I think Ty already has a chick sitting in his lap. And her name's he's looking up. He's like, oh, me and Sylvia are getting reacquainted. But yes, I do remember. This should be great.
And Zack takes his selection aside to a more quieter area and starts working his charms.
Charms, you say? Yes.
So, I'm about to just be fucking slammed to the ground.
Well,
And I'm gonna decide to have Zack use Lingering Kiss, because he finds this guy very attractive. And he definitely wants to see more of them in the future. So for Lingering Kiss...
Is it dark in the room?
darkish. There's a certain ambiance.
No, what I'm saying is since technically the hunt has been active, it might be time to engage in one of my disciplines for the first time.
Okay, hold on. I'll be right back.
Eyes of the Beast.
Huh?
I always don't like it when the DM rolls without saying anything. Yeah, but it's more terrifying.
Seth is still standing behind you, waiting for everybody to make a selection and seeing what's left.
What's left?
Hey, all he needs is hot coffee and
Ow, Russell, yeah?
good.
No, I don't think you want me planning your bachelor's party.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you seen?
It's come to my attention that I do not need to roll for a lingering kiss.
No, it's whatchamacallit?
He makes out with his selection before gently biting down on the lower lip and feeding.
Yeah, just finds blonde surfer guy, slightly muscled, and beckons him over and makes him sit next to her leg.
On the floor, of course, right?
Yes, of course, on the floor.
Seth steps forward and looks at the remainder. Zach has her choice, has his choice. Frost has his. He has taken hers, and he picks the least physical of what's the remainder, the most docile looking, and beckons them over.
It is a veritable couple's night in the Dragon's Room of Salacious. Save Frost, who is trying to decide on what to do. There's a certain understanding in most bars, and there's a certain understanding on most streets that when the fight has begun, either fight or flee. Smart people typically seek to flee. Frost, having always been a combative, always been a combatant, always been a soldier, is torn because what he did was never very nice and was never very much for public consumption. He also is torn between just drawing down on this gentleman, considering he's outweighed by roughly 150 pounds and 2.5 inches of height. It's enough to make most people consider. For him, his beast, and that little portion of lizard brain that has acted in his stead in most of these situations is very much pointing towards the act of just drawing down, slipping the pistol from his inner pants holster and firing center mass. It would be very difficult to miss. That is until the gentleman start moving. The speed that he covers the ground between where he was and where he is, dragging Frost by the heel of his shoe into the center, is considerable. That's 8 superficial, halved. So you take 4 in the tackle, the spear, and the drag.
Okay. Frost like slams down on this fucker's back with both his fists.
He's like, let's go ahead and roll your strength. Let's brawl.
You dog, how do you fucking keep fighting food? Jesus Christ. Sorry. The dog annoys me sometimes. Wait, I could have sworn. Oh, right, that's. Sorry. Let's see if I get a crit. I guess I don't really want to get a crit. Oh! Uh-oh.
When in doubt, always use the Star Trek maneuvers. Then there's nothing like a good double forearm courtesy of James Tiberius Kirk that fails to win the day until it doesn't. Leaping up as if he had always been on his feet, as if he had always been prepared to go mano a mano with the very world around him, Frost drives his hand down through where the gentleman recently was. Having been clearly trained or thrown up in a very combative situation, the gentleman dodges out of the way, which triggers, unfortunately for those of you in the know, an animalistic fury as he misses, driving his hands down into gold-plated floor covered loosely by high traffic carpet. Frost shatters both wrists. The force of the blow is strong enough to cause the chairs to rattle with the base of it. Luckily, the room is secluded enough that none outside of this room could hear the snap, nor hear the feral howl of pain that turns to a need to feed. And not just feed, to kill, to consume, to divest the nearest subject of their existence. Everyone's still sitting and watching, or anyone doing something?
I'm ready. Like, if it looks like he's gonna try to move towards Silk, I'm gonna step in over.
Zach's a little preoccupied at the moment.
Seth is standing by. He has his choice standing by him because he had no Blair invested in defeating the placate Silk. And when he sees Frost go down on his target, he steps forward and is ready to reel Frost back in.
You all, when he breaks his wrist and howls like an animal in pain, there's literally his next action will be to divest everything near him of blood, of life.
Well, I'm standing by, so he has a current target.
Everything with a heartbeat.
Yeah. And as soon as he tries to unsnap that guy's head, I'm going to pull him back, or at least attempt to.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Would the bestial failure incur
Zach looks
Feral
up at the
weapons?
guy he just made out with and asks him his name.
Canoodled in the corner, Zach is exchanging information. What were you saying, Frost?
I said because the bestial failure would Frost maybe potentially activate his protein feral weapons, or no?
No.
Okay.
He would activate his need to drink down the entirety of the world.
Right. And Mr. Big Boy's right in front of me, isn't he?
Oh, having dodged out of the way, close enough. Dia, you're just gonna sit and watch? Is there anything that Dia is attempting?
Dia is going to warn the others that were not picked that they might want to clear the room slowly and carefully so that they don't trigger a chase response from Frost, but I want them out of the way so that there's less collateral damage. Should Seth not be able to pull Frost back.
All right, Seth, go ahead and roll your strength and brawl. Frost, roll your strength and brawl. Leaping towards the nearest target of opportunity, Frost is dragged back away from the very living humans as Dia stands and starts yelling, "Back away slowly!" Silk is clapping because the show is very much entertaining. Ty stands between Silk and the dragged away Frost. There is a certain feel. There's a certain understanding as to what happened. But even knowing that Frost can survive the shattered wrist, there's something that causes a cringe, a wince, as looking at the damage as he's pulled away, screaming, howling, and flailing like the wild animal he is, and that triggers a inward pain because he was Frost, he is Frost, but in this moment that animal is a feral thing. It is absent and devoid of even the semblance of life that in this moment. Silk stands, moving to Seth as he's struggling to maintain Frost, because there's dead weight and then there's dead weight with the impetus to harm everything around it, and that is what Seth is dealing with. Frost, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your resolve plus composure for me, please?
Okay.
As Silk draws closer to Seth, she crouches, making eye contact. I hope somewhere in this you've obtained some semblance of understanding. And as she speaks, there's a calm that slowly returns to Frost, washing over him slowly. In its place, left behind, are the amber hues of a lupine, of a wolf. And as Frost receives his first dance with the devil, as it were, his first loss of control, and you all see the toll that those losses of control will take on him, understanding that you all, because of your proximity to power, because of the potential power that you wield, are now in a different echelon of trouble. All of the troubles you've had before magnified by not only what you do, but how you represent yourselves. All in, all out. Together, you all stand a chance. Individually, well, the sky's the limit as to how far you. With those thoughts dancing in our coteries' mind, as Frost returns to himself with a few scars, a but far more whole than he would have been in another situation. I want to thank you all for a lovely session, and I'll see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Man,
Good night.
I just can't make friends with Silk, can I?
Tyvin's looking at you all like that kid who brought over his ratchet ass friends to his mom's house.